Nathan Rothschild, a member of the famous Rothschild family, once said something like this: "If you let me control a country's money, I do not care who makes its laws." He believed that controlling money gave him real power, maybe more power than the government. The Rothschild family had a very big effect on the world. They changed how money markets worked around the world. They influenced the decisions of governments and the history of whole countries. The things they did many years ago still affect our lives today. For a long time, the family was extremely powerful. Some people say that politicians often felt they needed the family's agreement before making big decisions. Nathan Rothschild showed how much he believed in the power of money when he said he did not care which person was the king or queen of England. He thought money was more important. Our story starts with Mayor Amschel Rothschild. He did not come from a rich family, but he was very smart and he was not afraid of hard work. He was born in 1744 in Frankfurt, a city in Germany. He grew up in a place called the Judengasse. This name means Jewish lane. It was the part of the city where Jewish people had to live. Life in the Judengasse was hard. It was a narrow street and very crowded. More than 3,000 Jewish people lived there together. They faced unfair treatment because they were Jewish. This is called discrimination. There were many rules that made their lives difficult. Jewish people could not leave the Judengasse at night. They could not go out on Sundays or on Christian holidays. They were not allowed to visit public gardens or coffee shops that Christians used. They could not even walk together in groups of more than 2 people. These rules constantly showed them they were seen as different from other people in the city. Mayer's parents wanted him to become a rabbi, which is a Jewish religious teacher. He was studying to become one. But then, a sad event changed his life. Both his parents died when he was still young. Because his parents died, Mayer had to stop his studies. He could not become a rabbi. He needed to earn money, so he left Frankfurt and found a job in a different city. He became an apprentice, a type of student worker at a bank. At the bank, Mayer learned all about finance, the world of money. He became especially interested in old, rare coins. These coins were from ancient places like Rome, Persia, and the Byzantine Empire. Mayer learned that rich and important people across Europe loved to collect these special coins. This knowledge became very important for him later. He learned how to check and sort coins and understood new ideas about banking and finance. 2. A smart start. Mayer Rothschild returned to Frankfurt after learning about finance. He joined his brothers in the family trading business. Mayer knew a lot about old and rare coins, so he started his own business buying and selling them. He was very good at this, and his coin business quickly became successful. Important people noticed Mayer's success. One was Crown Prince Wilhelm of Hesse. The Crown Prince collected rare coins and liked Mayer's work. He was impressed with Mayer's skill. So Crown Prince Wilhelm gave Mayer an important job title, court factor. This meant Mayer was an official financial helper for the prince's court. Being a court factor changed Mayer's life. It was a big opportunity. He could leave the difficult life in the Judengasse, the Jewish area of Frankfurt. He could now meet wealthy and powerful people. This helped his business grow much bigger. Mayer used this chance well. He built the base for the future success of the Rothschild family. As time passed, Mayer's businesses grew larger. He thought carefully about the future. He had 5 sons and he made a smart plan for them. He decided not to keep the business only in Frankfurt. He planned to send each of his 5 sons to a different important city in Europe. These cities were centers for trade and finance. Each son would start a branch of the family business there. Mayer gave his sons 2 main instructions. First, they must do business with the most powerful families in their new cities, the ruling families and nobles. Second, he told his sons it was important to have many sons themselves. These grandsons would help manage and grow the family's business across Europe in the future. Spreading the family business across Europe was a clever plan. It wasn't just about making more money. It was a way to protect the family's wealth. Mayer knew that having the business in one place was risky. With branches in different countries, the Rothschilds were safer. If one country had political problems or war, the businesses in other countries could survive. Working with ruling families was also smart for protection. These powerful people became important clients. They brought a lot of business, but they also offered political connections and support. By helping kings and nobles with money, the Rothschild family gained their protection. This political safety was very valuable for a Jewish family at that time. It helped them operate their businesses securely. 3. 5 brothers, 5 cities. Mayer Rothschild had 5 sons. He had a clever plan for his family business. He sent his sons to live and work in 5 key European cities. These important cities were Naples in Italy, Vienna in Austria, Paris in France, London in England, and Frankfurt in Germany. Frankfurt was the family's home city where the business began. Each son established a bank branch in his new city. Amschel Mayer Rothschild stayed in Frankfurt to manage the main bank. Salomon Mayer von Rothschild went to Vienna. Nathan Mayer Rothschild moved to London. Common Mayer von Rothschild, often called Karl, set up the bank in Naples. Jakob Mayer de Rothschild, known as James, went to Paris. These 5 banks did not work alone. They worked together like one big company. They used messengers to share news and information quickly between the cities. This network was a new idea. It helped them make smart decisions fast. Together, these 5 linked branches became the first truly international bank working across borders. The Rothschild banks became very successful and powerful. They were not just banks for normal people or small businesses. They became bankers for the most powerful people in Europe. This included kings, princes, and the governments of many different countries. By lending money to so many different European powers, the Rothschilds gained a unique position. They were seen as neutral. This meant they could work with countries that might be enemies with each other. This neutrality, combined with their many connections, gave the family quiet influence. They knew leaders and important officials in many countries. They could use these relationships to affect political choices and international relations. They did this carefully and subtly without drawing too much attention. The family's business activities expanded over time. When Mayer first started, he dealt in luxury items and traded rare coins and commercial papers. As the sons established their banks, the family business grew into much more. They offered full banking services. This included managing large amounts of money for clients, providing huge loans to governments, and helping to finance international trade. They became experts in moving money across borders. The Rothschilds also saw that times of trouble could create chances to make money. Wars and political changes often meant governments needed large sums of money quickly. The family became very skilled at finding these big opportunities, especially during the wars that affected Europe at that time. This helped their banks become even richer and more powerful. For money in wartime. Wars were big chances for the Rothschild family to make money. The French Revolutionary Wars and the Napoleonic Wars were very good for their business. These wars happened between 1792 and 1815. During this time, the family helped leaders on different sides. They gave money, called loans, to the princes and generals who were fighting. They also bought and sold important things that countries needed during the war. This included food like wheat, materials like cotton, and weapons. Sometimes they moved these goods secretly. They helped money move between Britain and Europe, even when the French leader Napoleon Bonaparte tried to stop trade with Britain. The family had a smart plan. They gave money to both sides of the war. This way, whoever won the war, the Rothschilds would still make money. One brother, Jacob Rothschild, was in Paris. He gave money to help Napoleon Bonaparte fight his wars. Another brother, Nathan Rothschild, was in London. He gave money to help the British side. The British Army leader was Lord Wellington. After some time, the family looked at the situation. They decided it would be better for their business if Britain won the war, so they changed their plan a little. Jacob in Paris started to give less money to Napoleon's army. At the same time, Nathan in London started to give more money to the British side. He made sure Lord Wellington had the money he needed to keep fighting. Nathan was very smart with money. He made another clever plan early in the war. At that time, Napoleon was winning some battles. This made people in Britain scared. Because people were scared, the price of British government papers called bonds went down. Nathan saw this as a chance. He bought many of these bonds very cheaply. Later, Britain won the important Battle of Waterloo. When the news reached London, the price of the bonds went up a lot. Nathan then sold the bonds he bought earlier. He sold them for a much higher price and made a very large amount of money. How did Nathan get the news so fast? He had his own private message system. He paid messengers to travel quickly and bring him news about the war. His system was faster than the government's. Because of this, Nathan Rothschild knew that Napoleon had lost the Battle of Waterloo a full day before the British government knew about it. This quick information helped him make his plan work perfectly. 5. Problems and new plans. The Rothschild family made a lot of money during the wars with Napoleon, but their success also created problems. Many people in France were very angry with them. This was because Napoleon Bonaparte had been kind to Jewish people. He gave them the same rights as other citizens and stopped unfair laws against them. The Rothschilds were a famous Jewish family. When they helped Britain, Napoleon's enemy, many French people felt betrayed. The family thought it was just good business, but others did not agree. Some important writers and thinkers in France started to connect the Rothschilds with problems like capitalism. They said the family showed the big difference between rich and poor people. Europe was changing quickly with new factories and industries. This time was called the Industrial Revolution. Many people were worried about these changes and about who had power. The Rothschilds had a lot of money and influence in many countries. They became a symbol of this new power and wealth. Sadly, this also made them a target for hate. Anti-Jewish feelings were rising in Europe. People started to blame the Rothschilds for many problems in society. They were used as an example of what some people thought was wrong with modern finance and international power. This negative attention would continue for many years. Despite these difficulties, the Rothschilds' businesses were doing very well. The family was smart and knew how to adapt to changes. They made new plans for their money. They started to invest in different areas. They bought government securities, which are like loans to countries. They also invested in insurance companies, and they bought stocks and shares in new industrial companies. Buying shares means owning a small part of a business. The Rothschilds saw great opportunities in the Industrial Revolution. They invested large amounts of money in building railways across Europe. Trains were very important for moving goods and people. They also put money into the coal industry. Factories and trains needed a lot of coal for energy. The family invested in iron companies and other businesses that worked with metals. These metals were needed to build railways, bridges, and machines. By putting money into these new industries, the Rothschilds helped the Industrial Revolution grow and change Europe. 6. Keeping the money safe. Mayer Amschel Rothschild worked very hard to build his family's financial business. But he knew he would not live forever. He needed a plan to keep the family's money and power safe after he died. He gave his family very clear rules about how to manage the money and the business. One very important rule was in his will, the document explaining what happens after death. It said that only his sons and their sons after them could receive the main family money and control the business. Daughters could not inherit the family fortune in the same way. This rule led to something interesting. Many Rothschilds married inside their own family. Between the years 1824 and 1877, Mayer Rothschild's male descendants had 36 weddings. 30 of these weddings were between close family members, like first or second cousins. Only 6 people married partners outside the family during this time. This strategy helped to keep all the money and power together inside the Rothschild family. Mayer also had another smart idea to protect the money. The family did not put their wealth into things like land, big houses, or gold. These kinds of property could be easily taken away by angry people or rulers who did not like them. Instead, they invested their money in things like company stocks, government bonds, and debts. These were easier to move or sell quickly if needed. This was very clever. Sometimes there was violence against Jewish people, and this happened quite often in Europe. Because their money was not in physical things that people could easily destroy or steal, it was much safer. Mayer's sons followed his plans and were also very smart with money. Nathan Rothschild, the son who managed the business in London, was especially successful. He made the family's London bank very strong. In 1835, Nathan made a very important deal. He got the rights to control the mercury mines in Spain. Mercury was a very important metal because it was used to refine gold and silver, making them pure. This deal gave the Rothschild family control over almost all the mercury in the world at that time. Nathan also worked hard to build good relationships with powerful people and important groups. He became very important to the Bank of England. Because people trusted him, he even got the job of refining gold and silver for the Bank of England and the Royal Mint, the place where Britain's coins were made. The family earned a lot of money from these activities, but they did not just spend it on luxury things. They used the money smartly. They reinvested it, putting it back into businesses to make the family fortune grow even more. The family's banking group started to invest in new, growing areas. They became important in the global trade of oil and non-ferrous metals, metals that are not iron. They bought large parts or shares of big, important international companies. Some of these famous companies included Rio Tinto, which mines metals, and De Beers, which is famous for diamonds. Later, they also invested heavily in the oil company Royal Dutch Shell. These investments helped the Rothschild family's wealth and influence to continue growing around the world. 7. Big power, big help. By the middle of the 1800s, the Rothschild family was extremely rich and powerful. Their influence reached across countries and businesses. They did not only work in finance. The family also had influence in culture, art, and science. They collected art and supported artists. Some family members were interested in science. They paid for trips to faraway places to find new plants and animals. This helped scientists and art experts learn more. The family gave many of their collections to libraries and museums that people can still visit today. The Rothschilds had so much money and power that they could help whole countries. Sometimes, governments waited for the family's agreement before making big decisions. For example, France lost a war against Prussia in 1871. The Rothschilds gave the French government 2 very large loans to help the country. In London, the family helped the British government. They quickly gave Britain £4 million. This money allowed Britain to buy the most important shares in the Suez Canal Company. The Suez Canal was a very important waterway for the British Empire. It made the boat trip from London to India much shorter, which helped British trade grow. The family's money also helped European countries take control in Africa. They gave money to people like Cecil Rhodes. With Rothschild help, Rhodes made a lot of money from diamonds in southern Africa. This also helped the De Beers Diamond Company, which the family partly controlled. The Rothschilds also supported important business people in America. John D. Rockefeller received help from the family. A man named Jacob Skiff, who had close connections to the Rothschilds, worked with Rockefeller. Skiff helped Rockefeller make deals with railroad companies. These deals helped Rockefeller's company, Standard Oil, become very large and powerful. Some people think the Rothschilds influenced the British government's decision to support a Jewish state. In 1917, the British government wrote the Balfour Declaration. This letter said Britain supported creating a home for Jewish people. The letter was sent to Lionel Walter Rothschild. It is true that the family gave a lot of money for many years to support Jewish settlement. Their help was important for the movement that led to the State of Israel in 1948. The family also gave a lot of money to help others. This is called philanthropy. In the city of Frankfurt alone, they supported about 30 charities. These included libraries, homes for children without parents, hospitals, homes for old people, and schools. Because of their money and important work, the Rothschilds received many honors. Mayer's 5 sons all became barons in the Austrian Empire. A Rothschild was the first Jewish person to become a member of the British Parliament. Another family member was the first Jewish person to receive the high title of peer in Britain. 8. Changes and today. The Rothschild family was very powerful for a long time, but things started to change. Wars and politics made their power smaller. Also, problems inside the family sometimes caused trouble. Over the next 100 years, some of the family banks closed. The bank in Naples, Italy, was the first. It closed in 1863. This happened after Italy became one country. The new government did not like the family's connections to other countries. The family had to close their business in Naples just 3 years after Italy's unification. Next, the first family bank in Frankfurt closed. This happened in 1901. The reason was simple. There were no male heirs in that part of the family to continue the business. A sadder story happened in Vienna, Austria. When the Nazis took control of Austria, they destroyed the Rothschild bank there. Family members had to run away. Those who stayed, like Louis Nathaniel de Rothschild, were put in prison. He was only let go after the family paid a large amount of money. The Nazis took all the family's possessions, homes, businesses, and artworks in Vienna. The bank in Paris also had problems. During the Second World War, the French government at that time seized their properties. The business survived the war. But later, in 1982, the French government took control of the bank under socialist rule. It was nationalized, meaning it became a government bank. This effectively ended the Rothschild Bank in Paris. So, only one of the first 5 banks stayed open, the London Bank started by Nathan Rothschild. Even with these problems, the family stayed important. In 2008, they reorganized their family holdings under one single company. This company was a shareholder of Paris Orleans, based in France. It was the first time the family businesses were unified after about 2 centuries. Today, the Rothschild businesses work in financial services, real estate, mining, and energy. They also do charitable work and own more than 24 wineries around the world. Many family members are still directly employed by these businesses or have invested in them, helping to generate wealth for the family. Nathan Rothschild's first bank in London still exists today and is successful. In 2022, it reported $3.2 billion in revenue and $650 million in net income. The bank manages $109 billion in assets for its clients. Altogether, the family's holdings are estimated to be worth about $1.2 trillion. Despite the difficulties, they are still one of the world's richest families. The Rothschild family certainly left a big mark on our society, both economically and politically. Their success shows how one small event can change the history of the world. Think about Mayer Rothschild. If his parents had not died early, he might have become a rabbi. How different do you think the world would be today if Mayer Rothschild had become a rabbi instead of a banker?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.